Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 191 of Lonely Gods. I'm your host, David, and I'm joined here, as always, by Kate.
Excellent. I look forward to not doing absolutely anything special for our 200th show.
I was just about to say, how do you feel that we're almost at 200 episodes? Not like it's really an inevitability unless we give up that we keep going and getting bigger and bigger. But like 200 is just a lot.
200 is a lot, especially. I mean, it's just when I think about how long a space of time 200 actually represents, because this is year 6 now.
Yeah.
We started in 2012, so yeah, it's been 6 years. So, I mean, we could have done 200 a lot faster than that, but this show has a lot of downtime.
It takes time to watch all this Doctor Who.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, for sure, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything. It's just 200 is a big number for any show, but I think for this one, especially just because it takes so long to do.
Yeah, tenacity. It really shows our love of Doctor Who.
I was gonna say it shows our autism, but sure.
Well, we do put up with a lot of bullshit.
Well,
we did listen to an Adric Short Trip this week, Kate.
Yeah, I know, but people like those for some reason.
I know. Do they? Well, we'll get there.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think most Big Finish listeners are pretty impressed with what they've done with Adric in general, but
except they also made him the worst. Don't forget, Big Finish gave us Adric's worst story too.
Yes, also the Scorpion King, but I think people kind of tend to forget about that one.
We'll never let them forget.
No, I'll never forget.
No, and because of that, it's not really like we don't want to let them forget because we don't want them to do it again. It's more of we had to listen to this, so we have to spread the suffering around somehow.
I'd like my money back, please. Yeah, but I mean, you have things like A Full Life or iterations of I that really use the character well. So
of course, no.
I would say
we're about to talk about a decent short trip with Adric.
Yes, I guess my point is the best of Adric at Big Finish is far better than the best he ever got on TV.
Except for Earthshock.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with his character.
It's just a really good story that he's in.
A really good episode, yeah. I mean, my favorite Adric moment on TV is him just giving up with the vampires because he's lazy. That's not because it's good. It's just I find that funny.
No, I know. We bring that up all the time too, because it's funny.
Do you ever think we dwell on the stupid shit too much?
No, we had a character side with vampires because it was easier.
Yeah, we did.
Also, giant ants with people eggs, Kate.
Giant ants with people eggs, fish people, the fucking ridiculous.
No more gods. No more fish people.
Adric giving up, ridiculous Pertwee fucking gadgets and vehicles.
Oh my god, all of the vehicles.
All the ridiculous vehicles and fucking 6E strangling poor Perry. Some of these things never leave.
Fucking coat.
Well, yes.
The rest of his outfit has grown on me. And like even the front lapels of his coat have grown on me, and I'm fine with them. It's when he turns around and you're like, dear God.
I don't know. I don't like the clown pants and the red spats, but
I'm fine. It's just it's the back of that coat, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, legend has it that that John Nathan Turner wanted a really like eye-burning and tasteless outfit for the Sixth Doctor, and like he kept denying like concepts because they weren't like horrendous enough, and just was like, no, make it worse. So I don't know.
I don't know either. Do we have any Doctor Who news this week, Kate?
Not that I'm aware of. I pretty quiet on the Big Finish front. I guess there's a Benny short story collection coming out, and that's pretty much it.
Big Finish is British, so there will be no Thanksgiving sales.
They might do. They've done Black Dalek Friday and Cyberman Monday, so
that's fun.
So
I don't know.
Maybe.
Wait, what's a Black Dalek?
It's a Dalek that's black.
Cyberman Monday is funny because it's
It's. I mean, there's been some Hartnell stories like from like before they.
Yeah, but like a black Dalek is not a thing. It's just a Dalek that is
Yes,
black.
it is. It's totally because it's before they like really solidified like the Emperor and the Dalek Supreme and stuff like that. Like they like I'm pretty sure like Dalek Invasion of Earth, the guy in charge was always just referred to as the Black Dalek.
Maybe.
So, I don't know.
It's been a while.
It has. Well, it's been less of a while for me, but I'm
That's true.
fairly.
It's already.
But
yeah.
Anyway, and the other thing is, I guess I don't know. I saw an article that Jodie Whittaker thinks social commentary is good on Doctor Who. I have no opinion one way or the other on that, and I don't care. So,
well, I mean, I feel like social commentary is good in most mediums, and like Doctor Who is sci-fi, and sci-fi is inherently mostly so like in its roots social commentary.
Well, I just say that I don't like to be preached at. And
no, of course not.
Commentary is different than getting on your soapbox and annoying me. So, you know, which again, I don't aim just at Doctor Who, because Star Trek drives me fucking crazy too sometimes. But you know, I'm of the mindset that it's escapism is okay. You don't have to. Not everything has to mean something, you know. But if it does, I don't usually care.
If Doctor Who's giving me social commentary, more of what I want is I want the companion being like, but this situation we're in is really fucked up. Why can't we do anything? And then the Doctor's like I want the companion to have like wanting to challenge social issues in times when it shouldn't be, and the Doctor being like, we can't fuck with time.
I mean, yeah, that would be preferable to telling me that Victorian London was full of black people, but I guess that's neither here nor there because we're not nowhere near those episodes anyway.
We're nowhere near those episodes. We're getting closer.
I guess we've been saying that for 6 years.
we're halfway through one of the 6 Doctors' only 2 seasons.
Yeah, but I mean, there's about 30,000 audios.
I know, but still. I mean,
just think, when we started this show, like, the Pawns were still on TV. River was a big deal. Like, it's been a long time, man.
Yes. But you saw what happened, right? Is the more we record, the better Doctor Who got. It went down first.
I'm not so sure I agree with that, but
I liked. I don't know about this current season. I've only seen the first episode, but I meant more of I really liked Peter Capaldi.
I really liked Peter Capaldi too. I had my issues with it just because I got sick of Clara after a while. And
yeah, I mean, I was sick of Clara from the beginning, but
and while I liked Bill and most of the episode in her season, it's like almost every episode had a moment where there was a point where I thought social commentary turned into being annoying. But
well, I will also say that happens all the time. It's a different issues, but the classic stuff's rife with the same shit, basically.
Oh my god, yes. I mean, like the Green Death. Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ.
Yes. So let's talk about our short trip so we can get onto TV, because I do have some things to say about the Mark of the Rani.
Okay.
So first up, we have the ingenious gentleman Adric of Alzarius, because
beautiful title.
Yes, because short, concise names are not in Big Finish's bag, especially for an episode that's 30 minutes long.
Well, I believe it has something to do with the Don Quixote motif. I believe he's the ingenious gentleman of La Mancha or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a literary allusion, although the literary allusion takes up 2 lines on the sidebar instead of the single title line. So. Nice. If you have to hit enter and fucking indent a second line, you probably went too far. But
so we have a short trip, so of course there's not a lot to it. And Matthew Waterhouse is narrating as Adric. And we learned something this week, Kate, that we might have known before, but I totally forgot.
The Adric inside is actually Sadric.
Well, no, that Matthew Waterhouse does a fucking terrible Tegan impression.
Yes, he does.
It was horrifying.
Yes, he does. It was bad. It was bad. I mean,
just say it normally. Don't do the impression.
Well, I mean, it's a dramatic reading. He does the impression for the other characters. He's gotta try it. I mean, sometimes it turns. I think it's just Tegan's voice is a difficult one for male performers to replicate.
I think it's a difficult one for most performers to replicate,
especially because it's got a ridiculous accent on top of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think my favorite male impression of Tegan is Mark Strickson, because I like that Turlough's take on Tegan is just incredibly snotty.
Yes, no, it's great.
And just horrendously bitchy. It says a lot about how he sees that character.
I miss Turlough and Tegan. Perry's cool, but I miss them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with Perry, I guess, but I feel like
she's underutilized.
They don't make her stand out from the generic companion role.
No, they don't.
Be filled with anybody. I think Big Finish is a little bit better at that, and I think she kind of has the same problem that Nyssa did on TV, where it's just they don't utilize her unique qualities. They don't draw the drama from her that they could.
Except they keep bringing up that she's a botanist and making her do botanist things, but it's like,
well, at least they remember that.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's like, but what I mean is, like, I'm not saying that that's like a bad thing. I mean it in a bad way, because it's like, oh, you're a botanist. Can you like find some herbs? Like it's very mundane shit she's doing as a botanist. She doesn't get to do cool stuff with botany.
Well, I mean, I guess, but again, at least they're remembering these things, because very often, especially in long-running shows like this, or again, to bring up Star Trek, you can introduce a character trait and then completely fucking forget about it and never mention it again. So,
like Susan's psychic abilities.
Yes. I mean, outside of the Sensorites, did that really matter?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I know. I was thinking, like, I feel like they brought it up again, but it must have been audio or something. Because thinking about the TV show, I don't think it's really.
What was the episode that was like the story that was like 2 episodes long or whatever, where like the TARDIS got all fucky?
Oh, Edge of Destruction.
They brought it up in that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was before Sensorites, so.
Yes, it was, because those are both season 1.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but whatever. Anyway, yes.
So the Ingenious. Anyway, so this story is about.
I just refer to it as Ingenious Gentleman.
Ingenious Gentleman, yes.
Mother, father, gentleman.
Is an Adric story where he is traveling with a gentleman knight, who has set out to right wrongs, and is on a quest to vanquish the evil doctor in his traveling blue tower.
Yes.
He's an evil sorcerer, and there's a dragon.
Yep. That's guarding the greatest treasure in the land, and we can't let the doctor or his assistant, the evil sorceress Nyssa, have it, because they've kidnapped Princess Tegan. Which I feel like you should probably have reversed those. I'm thinking that if anyone's an evil sorceress, it's probably Tegan. Like...
Okay. Why is this supposed to? Oh, I guess it doesn't. Never mind. But it's basically what's happened is they've gone to a planet where they've found a device that makes your fantasies. Is it like it's like virtual reality, basically, right?
Well, it's. I mean,
it's not like making stuff like it's not like a
more like. Well, I mean, it is making things real. It's more like augmented reality than virtual reality, I suppose. But honestly, the closest comparison that I can think of is the Sarah Kingdom house that kind of just gives you your wishes, but doesn't really understand that that's not always a good thing, and that you need to kind of selectively grant wishes instead of a good comparison that gets into somebody's head. So yeah, basically they've come to this planet. I mean, in the backstory, like, I guess the doctor wanted to, the treasure is the machine that's doing this. The doctor wanted to like find the machine and tinker with it. But basically it's gone amok. It's granting like everyone's wishes. And in fact, it's granting the wishes of people who are wishes. So yeah, everything's a little topsy turvy, and it's kind of like it's a medieval folklorish riff on Don Quixote, and I mean, there's even a scene where the knight goes tilting at windmills, and they actually are giants this time.
See,
And
I don't know Don Quixote at all, so that all went completely above my head. But I liked this story. I did enjoy this. Like, it's a nice little short story.
Yeah.
With the
basically the setup for this is that Adric wakes up. The village was attacked by dragons or something. He gets knocked out and he wakes up with the knight, and the knight says, "You're my squire, and we're doing this, that, and the other thing." And he doesn't really quite remember it, and it sounds kind of right, but not really.
Except it's eventually revealed that Adric did not lose his memory. He just didn't know what the fuck was going on. So he's like, I'm just going to roll with this until I know what's going on.
Something like that. But yeah, anyway, basically it's Don Quixote with the knight who has a suspicious resemblance to the Fourth Doctor as Don Quixote, and Adric riding behind on a donkey playing the role of Don Quixote's sidekick, Sancho Panza. And yeah, so it's a fun little whimsical fairy tale kind of story. Yes. I mean, really, it's a device to kind of further explore Adric's feelings about the Fifth Doctor versus the Fourth. And I was actually going to point out that, like, you make fun of Waterhouse doing Tegan, which, you know, it isn't great, but I think he does a pretty good reading, and I actually thought his Tom Baker was pretty good.
Yes. Well, I didn't realize that's what he was doing at first either. Like, it took me a minute because they bring it up too at the end explicitly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as the knight entered the picture and he was described with wild curly hair and buggy eyes and big teeth, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Tom Baker. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. It was a fun little story.
Fun little story. Also, I was going to say a really good soundtrack as well. It has a lot of sort of like Spanish sounding guitar to it, which is nice. Yeah. So definitely recommend this one. I liked it quite a bit, maybe a little more than you did, because I'm fucking intelligent as hell, and intellectual even.
So that's that.
I knew Don Quixote a little bit, so you know.
To move on and segue a little bit there. Something that I actually meant to bring up last week, and I don't remember if it really applies this week, but it definitely did last week, even though we very much enjoyed the Vengeance on Faros. What's up with the new soundtrack to Doctor Who? I feel like the music's gotten a little weird. Our composer changed, right? With the
Okay. Well, okay. So I'm not entirely up on it, because honestly, the music in Doctor Who is not something I pay a lot of attention to generally.
It was definitely weird. There were parts of Varos where I was like, "This feels totally different than what you're going for. What's going on?" It wasn't as bad as Twin Dilemma, which was that was
horrendous.
Yeah.
Okay, so to the best of my knowledge, and I may be incorrect about this because I haven't bothered to look it up because I don't give a fuck, but to the best of my knowledge, you know, for a lot of the classic series in the 70s, like for John Pertwee and Tom Baker, we had Dudley Simpson doing the music, and you know, his style of music is not particularly to my taste, but he was the mainstay of the show with very few exceptions for quite a long time. And I believe going into the 80s, what happened is that instead of hiring composers, they farmed the music out to the Radiophonic Workshop, which is the in-house BBC sound department. And I believe that they were responsible for the title theme and everything like that. So I believe they're still handling it by this point. I don't know that they've hired a new like regular composer or if they're rotating for different episodes, but the last that I can remember, this is still the Radiophonic joint.
I see. Okay.
But again, more sense. Sure that's changed since then. But one of the things that the Radiophonic Workshop was kind of known for doing with Doctor Who was experimenting with electronic sounds. So you know, maybe that's it. I don't know. I do agree with you that sometimes the music has felt kind of tonally off. I feel that way, like just in general. A lot of the time, the classic series music doesn't do it for me, and I find it kind of weird and kind of just farty synth. But
Moving on.
yeah, all right, fine.
Let's talk about the mark of. Is it the Rani or just Rani?
It's the Rani.
The
It's like
mark of the Rani.
yes, it's like the master, the doctor, the Rani.
Yes.
Yeah. Believe you me,
So
my disappointment. Well, and also joy when Sarah Jane Adventure has introduced a character whose name was Ronnie, and I was like, oh fuck, and then I watched it and I was like, oh, all right,
oops.
never mind.
Bad move.
Well, I don't know if it was a bad move. I mean, it's a Russell T Davies joint. I'm sure he knows damn well, you know that.
I
that
know, but Ronnie's not like is a very unique name. So like,
I mean, yes, but the character was like of Indian descent, so maybe it's more of a I don't know.
oh, maybe that would make sense. Maybe it's actually not a very unique name. Just it is in England.
Yeah, it's like how like FF6 in Japan, Terra's name was Tina because that was exotic, but over here it got changed to Terra because Tina's like normal and boring and stupid.
Yes.
That's
and
my
Terra is a good Final Fantasy name.
yes. So good they used it twice.
Yes, I think more than twice.
Well, I was thinking of Terra in Kingdom Hearts and Terra in Final Fantasy VI, but
Okay, well, I was thinking Kingdom Hearts too, so I didn't know if you were referencing another one. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the. So this is a weird story, Kate. This is definitely like a. We were on such a good path the past two stories.
yeah.
And I wouldn't say this derailed the cart, but this was a lot of turbulence. This is a weird story.
It's pretty strange.
Full of Cockney gibberish.
It's not Cockney.
I know, but it's just that was my best equivalent that I could think of off the top of my head for that type.
It's like a northern country bumpkin kind of accent.
Oh my god, there was lots of angry bumpkins that just like I could understand every other word at most.
I didn't have a problem with it, but I mean,
it was more so in the first episode than the second.
That's because the first episode is a story, and then the second episode becomes nonsense. So,
yeah. Well, so the Doctor and Perry land in England in what's the year?
I don't remember the exact year, but basically
the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, it's during the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. At this mine, the workers are concerned that mechanization will take their stuff away. This is during the time of like the Luddite riots. So that's the I guess the historical background. The crux of it here is mine workers worried that automation will put them out of a job.
Yes. Which is very prescient right now. Social commentary, Kate.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I mean, it has been an ongoing problem since the Industrial Revolution.
I know. So, I'm well aware.
They're kind of 107 years too late.
But yeah, so these mine workers who fear that the machinery will put them out of the job quickly descend into a pack of rambling lunatics.
Big hickeys on their necks, too.
Yes.
That's the mark of the
clearly, yeah, they're going like they're pissed off, but something's making them go crazy.
Yeah, like crazy violent rage virus stuff.
But when they get crazy violent, their speech pattern just descends into unintelligible gibberish.
It's like a Glaswegian bar fight.
Yes, I feel like maybe the British audience would be able to better understand that, but holy fuck.
Well, I mean, it was only occasionally where I couldn't get a mumbled word or a slurred speech pattern. I mean, I've never had too much problem with accents generally.
I normally don't either. It was this episode in particular.
You know, I mean, as an aside, I remember reading that in some American cities where the movie Snatch was screened, that it came with subtitles for people couldn't understand British. I'm like, who the fuck are these people that can't? Like, Jesus Christ! It's
Yeah, that was ridiculous because I love that movie. I've seen
I
it.
love it too. And I understand maybe the Brad Pitt character, I guess, but like,
But that's also the point of that.
I know that's the joke. So I don't know what the problem was there, but anyway, it wasn't too bad. But they were definitely kind of marble mouth for sure.
Yeah. Well, especially with that character, there is literally parts where the British people in that movie do not understand what that character is saying, and that's the joke. Is that
You gotta have a shit. You like dags?
Dags. Oh, dogs, yes. Anyway, so as Doctor Who is wont to do sometimes, they filled this episode with way too much bullshit for 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I guess to continue expanding on the basic premise here before we get too off track, the Doctor and Perry were trying to get to Kew Gardens, which is a place I have been to.
Oh, and Fancy Kate!
Fancy Kate, yeah, it was great. We went. Tony and I went into their tropical glass house, and we nearly died. It was like a sauna. It was horrible, but other than that, it's very beautiful. It's a huge botanical complex of all these different flowers and plants and fungi and all kinds of beautiful shit, and many glass houses, and it's great. Definitely, if you're in London and you haven't gone to Kew Gardens, go.
When you say glass house, do you mean like a greenhouse?
Yes, but like a giant Victorian one.
Okay, cool.
That you would find in Jurassic Park, like huge. So go if you can. But anyway, so they've been trying to get to Kew Gardens. They end up in this fucking podunk shithole of a place. And I guess there's a scientist here that's going to invent some kind of alloy or a machine or some damn thing that's going to be important. And he's like calling a gathering of scientists, like Michael Faraday, or no, not Michael Faraday. Maybe, yeah, Michael Faraday, a whole bunch of people anyway from that era. And so the Doctor wants to investigate this, and because he's a pompous fuckhead, and also investigate why the locals are raving lunatics. Meanwhile, the Rani is there. She's doing experiments and giving people hickeys. We don't really know who she is or why just yet. And also the Master is there lurking around and laughing to himself and kind of not doing much.
Yeah, who did not need to be there at all.
Absolutely not.
He is the extra bullshit. I mean, there's some other stuff too, but like, holy shit, was the Master just a waste of time in this story?
Yeah, we'll talk about that, I think, in a bit later specifically, because that was one of my big gripes with this as well.
But also, so this drunken, crazed hickey rabble attacks the Doctor and Perry, and a guy falls down a mine shaft in a hilariously bad green screen.
Yeah, that was interesting.
This story is just I think a big problem with the story from a technical standpoint, besides the overstuffed plot, is it doesn't feel well cut together. Like, it feels like we're watching bits of different stories.
Well, I think that's. I mean, yeah, maybe. I haven't really thought about it that way, but maybe. I mean, I don't know about bits of different stories, but I definitely noticed that the pacing was off, and I don't think it's the script. I think it was the editing.
I think it was the editing too.
I feel like things went like they left the camera running too long before they cut, and it was weird.
We have a plot line, a fine plot line that would work, where we discover that the Rani rules a planet whose name I can't remember because it doesn't matter.
Oh, who cares?
Where she is in complete domination, and she uses she is a chemist, like a bioengineer.
Yeah, like a biochemist.
And she uses the formulas she creates to make her workforce more efficient, in the sense where she has made them so efficient they no longer sleep and they're going crazy because
yeah, she's removing from the brains the ability to sleep, which makes them go nuts, but it also makes them like susceptible to basically just being her like thralls or whatever.
Yeah, they're mind slaves.
So
she is trying to extract the ability to sleep from human brains so she can give it to her workers so that they can sleep a little bit and not go crazy.
Maybe. Is
something
that it?
like that.
What she wants that?
That's
She's extracting brain fluid and
sleep fluid
sleep.
specifically. It was to make sleep.
Yes, yes. And the master keeps like dangling it in front of her and laughing.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna spill it. And it's
Also,
like,
her
you can do better than a fucking fourth grade bully. Like,
yes, and then also her bioengineered chemical formula are little larvas too, which is
yeah,
weird.
she puts bugs in their mouths. I think that's the control mechanism. I don't think that's the. I don't know.
I got the impression that it was the form. It was the product.
I'm sure there's some super Doctor Who mega fan out there who's not listening to this that's ears are boiling because we don't know what's going on.
Anyways, but that is a fine plot for a story. We do not need the master. We also don't really need the Industrial Revolution plotline because it kind of doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
not really.
The whole point of the workers getting angry about automation really only happens because the Rani is fucking with their brains. Like this isn't a story about that, and it never ends up becoming about that. It's all about the Rani. So it's like there's this whole half of the plot that doesn't really go anywhere, and just
because then like when the doctor like he meets the guy.
First, the guy who's hosting it, who's like kind of just.
Well, there's a guy who's hosting it and owns the mine, but there's also like the scientist guy who's like actually the historically important one.
Yes, the who shows up in the second episode.
Who shows up in the second episode, but like I don't think his plot really goes much of anywhere either. Like
no,
he kind of
both don't.
He helps the doctor out a bit, and then but like his invention or his eventual prominence like doesn't actually matter.
Yeah,
and I had thought that like. I had thought that the point was that they were here because of like the meeting he was throwing, that the Rani wanted to get like extra good brain juice from all the scientists that were going to come.
But she didn't.
She didn't. The
she
party
just needed brain juice. It didn't matter whose brain juice.
Any old fucking brain juice. And like she doesn't seem to care about the party. The party never actually happens because the doctor tells him to cancel it, and he does. So I was like, all right.
And that's another when you talked about with the editing, we both talked about, yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, the shots linger a bit too much. And it's like when the shots linger in a scene that also just feels like it's lingering, like it's in some version of a script that should have gotten edited out. It's like that whole plot line. First off, the host is like half crazy usual Doctor Who rich tycoon villain who doesn't give a fuck, and then also half like cares trying to pay his workers a decent wage. Like he kept shifting back and forth, and it was weird to me. Like,
well, I mean, he
never went full mustache twirling villain, but there were just like moments where he was like.
Well, I mean, there's moments where he's hostile, but I mean, to me, I mean, at least I interpreted that like he was stressed out because of the situation. He was having to be a bit of a hard ass because of the situation. But like, yeah, like you said, like he was trying to pay his workers a fair wage. He cared about them.
But mean, it was like
class person. Obviously, he felt like he was better than his workers, but he didn't treat them badly either.
No, but it was like it and I would agree with that. But it felt like it shifted in the same scenes. Like it was like he was acting like this, and then immediately he was acting differently. Like it felt a little.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably. I mean, because like he's annoyed when the doctor turns up because he's like, "Well, what the fuck is this I got to deal with now?" You know? But like, I don't know.
And then the second guy, I couldn't remember. They kept talking about it. I can't remember what his name is because when he finally showed up, he was so underwhelming.
He showed up to rescue the doctor from a minecart, and then that was kind of really the only important thing he did.
Oh my god, the fucking cliffhanger!
I think like off screen he went and got the TARDIS out of the mine shaft that it had fallen down, but I think
they threw it in. They didn't fall down.
Whatever, but you know what I mean though. Like he did a helpful thing off screen. Was he involved with the adventure of the tree making landmines, or I don't remember if he was there or not? Because there was the worker's son who was a nice guy that got turned into a hickey man.
Yes,
turned into a tree because he stepped on a landmine. And that's not it. No, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's what happens. The Rani makes these landmines where if you step on them, you become a tree. And not just a tree, but a tree that could like move its limbs around like a fucking ant.
Yes. Because she's going to turn a bunch of people into trees.
Also, she has T-Rex embryos, I guess.
Not important at all.
No, but in the end, they fall out of their things, and it's like when you drop one of those squishy things in a bowl of water, and they grow. Like it's one of those dollar store things.
No, you're talking about well, a little bit, but more so the original concept for Singularity.
What?
Did you ever play the game Singularity?
Oh.
Oh, well, because you fucked with time and stuff, and there was weapons that would like fast forward and like.
Oh,
Like,
okay. No, because see, there was the audio singularity, so I thought.
oh no, I meant the video game Singularity with the time stuff. Because in the concept, if you sucked people back in time, they like turned into horrifying fetus like explosions. But that was too disturbing, so they made them cavemen. But like. This was the reverse of that, where they were fetuses, so they started growing into dinosaurs because there was time spillage.
I guess
that was a good scene. Out of context.
I don't know. I guess
I liked the dinosaurs.
I was
and the screaming. It was just a good moment of chaos.
I was disappointed at how far off the fucking rails this goes towards.
Literally, there's a minecart with rails too, and I was thinking the same when the doctor was in a minecart hurtling towards a mine as a cliffhanger. I'm like, this has gone off the rails, even though we're on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's a great cliffhanger too, because the minecart is going at about 3 miles an hour, on completely flat ground, and there's just no.
And the doctor's like. He's got his hands over the front and like peeking his head out like Kilroy, and it's just this weird scene.
Because doesn't that whole like situation start because Perry has him on the Gertie from the Rani's lair, and he's like, push me, and she pushes him sort of down this very slight incline. He's like, no, the other way, and it's too late, and she can't catch him. It's like,
yes,
oh my god. So, but like, I don't know. I like a good historical, and I had thought that the Sixth Doctor would have worked well in a historical setting, especially this kind of era, because his theatricality and his pomposity and his verbose way of speaking would just be a lot of fun. And so, you know, and because all we've had with the Sixth Doctor thus far have been sci-fi futuristic stories. You know, I thought it would be a cool change of pace. It'd be nice to see the Sixth Doctor in a historical setting. And instead, what happens is that we get that for 15 minutes. And then...
you know what's also super fun, Kate?
What?
More Time Lords. Do you know what's not super fun? This story.
Yeah. So, but I guess just to sum up my point is the second half is way too silly, and it has way too many odd things crammed into it. Like characters that go nowhere, like very boring and hilariously bad minecart issues, and dinosaur feedii, and landmines that turn you into a tree.
Seeing another TARDIS was cool.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like the Rani's TARDIS interior is fucking cool. That is the best part of this story.
I like the performance, well, to a certain extent. I mean, the script's not good, so do with that what you will. But I liked the characterization of the Rani. I like the idea of another renegade Time Lord. I like the biochemist angle. Man, this story's bad. I hope she gets a better one.
Well, yeah, I mean, on paper, I like that if they had to introduce another bad Time Lord, it was somebody who was different. The monk. Monk is a small-time petty thief kind of con man guy. The Master is the mustache-twirling grandiose villain, whereas the Rani is just kind of amoral, and she's doing science, but she's doing science with no concern for ethics, and it's a different kind of villainy than the other two.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate because she has to share time with the Master, who does not need to be here at all.
No.
Like, and I don't know why they shoehorned him into the plot. I seem to remember that the original concept for the story did not have the Master in it, and then the producers demanded that he be inserted, which would explain why he's got really nothing to do. He doesn't, yeah, like he's not an active force in this story at all. He does taunt the Rani a little bit, and I think he's holding her brain juice hostage a little for a while, but like, you know, he wanders around the village, hiding in corners that in all in plaque where he could be easily seen by anyone.
We're getting back to Ultra Evil Wizard again.
Yeah, we're getting there. And once he meets up with, like, he doesn't really do anything to the Doctor. I think he threatens him a bit and like uses his dildo gun to open a gate. And then like once he meets up with the Rani, like he bitches at her a little bit and then spends the rest of the story following her around like a puppy dog.
And threatening her.
Threatening her while not actually doing anything.
Being a schoolyard bully. That is a really good...
Yeah, pretty much. And then like by the end of it, he's trapped with the Rani in her TARDIS through a time vortex, screaming at a T-Rex.
Time spelling.
So when you add all this up, this is just like, why is the Master here?
Like, I don't know.
Story. He doesn't.
I don't remember the number, but this reminds me of that season where the Master was in literally every single story, and it was like this story was not fine, but it's like this would have been fine without him. Stop putting him here. He doesn't need to be here.
No, he doesn't need to be here, and it's not even that. You know, Roger Delgado is a pleasure. Any story he's in, pretty much. Anthony Ainley in this story, especially, both him and the Rani, actually, their acting is way over the top. Like it's mad cackling and mustache twirling and grandiose speeches about evil, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's just insane. I mean, we've already got Colin Baker, and he's about as big a ham as you can find. Like we don't need another two.
We can't have both.
We can't do this. We cannot do this. And I mean, and it's funny because on TV anyway, I don't know if you've seen him in audio since it, but on TV, the last time we saw him was Planet of Fire, where he was apparently roasted alive and died. And there's not really any explanation for his survival. They're like, I thought you died. And he's like, no, I didn't. It's like, all right, I guess. So, I mean, if you're gonna you know, follow up on that, you would think you'd bring him back for a reason and not to stuff him into somebody else's story. I really think that, at least in concept, the Rani could have easily stood on her own.
I totally agree.
And
I wish she had, because
yeah,
I think that I find that character concept very interesting. I want to see. I know we get another Rani TV story.
Yep, and we'll see audios as well.
Yeah, but like I want more Time Lord villains. They're fun.
I mean, I agree with you with the caveat that
not too many.
Not too many, because I think once you have too many renegade Time Lords running around, it kind of beggars belief.
But like, keep bringing the monk and the Rani back, please.
Rani, fuck it, give us Drax even.
Oh, Drax. Yeah, I mean that's all audios for the most part and stuff. But yeah, I like Drax.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, one of the things that makes the Doctor unique is that he rejected Gallifrey and took off on his own. You know, that's supposed to be a highly unusual thing. So if you dilute that by having 34 other Time Lords, it's like you kind of
Right.
you take the specialness out of that. So giving him an evil counterpart is fine. Having a few other Time Lords that are on the shady side is fine. But if you're going to have, like, you know, the Legion of Time evil, it's like,
you can have. I feel like you can have more villainous Time Lords than you can have them like the Doctor. Because you're right, the rejecting Gallifrey is a bad thing. So like the fact that the Doctor did it and is a good person is like the shock.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess so. But I mean, I just think that if you're going to have more villainous Time Lords, I think you should take them along the lines of Braxiatel, where he's still very much involved in Gallifrey. He's an absolutely ruthless politician, and you know, but like he's still a part of Gallifreyan society. I'm just it's not so much villains, I guess, that I would not want too many of. It's more renegades.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have a whole lot else to say about this.
Did you hate it though? I guess is my final question.
No, I found this is one of those episodes that's bad, but I found like I wouldn't say like captivated or anything, but like I was watching this and I was like, what the fuck is going to happen next? Like where is this going?
So it kept your attention.
It kept my attention, mostly because, again, all the weird stuff we're talking about. Like, why the fuck is the Master here? Like, this is edited very weird.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I liked it a little more than you. I think it's okay, but it's
it's definitely it's okay. It's very uneven.
It's very uneven. It's very heavily flawed. There are bits of it that I think work really, really well. There are bits of it that I think could have worked well and didn't. And then there's on top of that, there's about 20 metric tons of stuff that should not be in the script.
This is kind of the bad Doctor Who that I like. It's I can't call this good. Like it's because it's not. But I enjoy it. Like there's enough here to keep me interested, and I'm like, okay, like this is again. I brought this up a couple of like this is the other side of that coin from last week. When I think of Doctor Who, I think of the Vengeance of Varos with like the everything going on and all the crazy costumes and stuff. When I think of like mediocre Doctor Who, I think of a story like this. Like what's going on? Why are there all these elements here? This is crazy. There's the Master's here for no reason.
Yeah, this is very much a story that reeks of having producers' fingers stuck into it.
Yeah,
for the worse. But yeah, so I guess for us, we're saying that Colin Baker is kind of breaking even right now. We got Mark the Rani and Twin Dilemma, and then we've got Cybermen and Barrels.
I'm trying to just think of this season. I don't think we should count Twin Dilemma against Colin Baker.
No, well, I think, like I said last time, I mean, Twin Dilemma is like a fucking fever dream. You can't hold that against somebody.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's like that's one of those that like. Mark of the Rani's bad, but I enjoyed it. Whereas Twin Dilemma made me mad.
Do you think it's the all-time worst?
Twin Dilemma?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because it's just. I would need to watch it again and watch some of the other really bad ones again because
don't do that. You have so much.
Yeah, no, and I'm not going to do it, so I don't feel like I can definitively say, but I don't know because then there's stuff like the gunfighters or
I don't think the gunfighters is that bad.
You just rewatched it and you were like, oh my god, I liked it until then I remembered the song and it's like half the story.
I hate the song.
It's literally like half the runtime.
I like the story besides that though.
What was the other one? The really boring one around that time.
The best part of the Gunfighters song is knowing that because they didn't have fucking the editing mixing at the BBC that they do now, I know that poor woman singing the song had to sit off screen with her piano, and all the actors had to sit there and wait for her to shut up before they could continue the scene.
Oh my god, really?
So happy.
There was an episode, a story right around the gunfighters that I can't remember what it's called or what it's about. I just remember it was super boring, and it was a space episode, and the model work on the ships was really good. But oh my god,
that was the Ark.
Yeah,
the monoids
or the space pirates. It's another bad one.
That one doesn't even have like a thing where you can point to and go, "Oh my god, that's bad." You're just sitting there and you're like, "I fucking."
The Web Planet's really bad. We love making fun of it because it looks really dumb, but it's a really long, really boring story that's obnoxious.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Twin Dilemma, I think is way down there on the list, but I mean, I don't know about all time like any Doctor Who because Necromantia would put up a great fight.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. I was gonna say the same thing. I think Necromantia might be the worst Doctor Who story we've ever heard, just because it's so.
Disgusting.
It flies in the face of what Doctor Who is, it's almost a red mark that's like Doctor Who should never be this dark because look what happens when it is. Like it's like no. That
it makes me use arguments against it that I usually hate.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is.
Yeah, well, like Doctor Who can be anything. It's fiction. Who the fuck cares? Like it can be super dark. It can be.
This is offensive. I hate that kind of shit, but.
but it literally Necromania is.
It's horrible. Anyway,
and also just the screeching.
Why is it? What is it with the British and shrill screeching?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Mother issues.
Yeah, maybe.
So but the Mark of the Rani is not that bad. Like it's not bad. It was fine.
I wouldn't say it was bad. It's
no.
For sure,
I hope it doesn't derail the whole season. But
well,
I feel like it because what I've heard about the season, I feel like it could. It just so happened. I mean, and even then, two for classic Doctor Who, 2 good stories out of a 6 at like a third of the season. That's not bad.
Well, I mean, I'll also point out that when it comes to fan consensus and fan wisdom, you and I don't really give a fuck about that, so we'll just watch it and see what we think. Right?
No, of course. I'm
So,
sure, and
otherwise we'd be listening to every fucking Tom Baker audio and going, "Oh my god, it's so good!" It's like 70.
Instead of it's another one of these.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I fucking hate Doctor Who fans, including us.
Both, yes, but we hate most fans of most things.
Well, I mean, I would always kind of go back to the axiom that there's a difference between fanboys and fans.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We are fans. We are not fanboys.
Yeah, it's like that old Chris Rock bit involving words I'm not allowed to say on this show. So, shall we talk about next week?
Yeah, what's going on for next week? It's got to be...
Next week is a fair bit more full.
Good. This week is very light.
It is very light. This week we have this week's brand new early adventure for Stephen and Vicky. It's called Entanglement, and I don't know what it's about because it's new.
We're running a
tight ship.
Sure. That's again an adequate, but not the metaphor I was going for. But yes, we're running a good string here.
An adequate ship, yes.
Hopefully, our ship is tight. Hopefully, it stays that way with this next story.
All right. Next up, though, also for the 5th Doctor, because we still have a bit of a backlog there, we have Kingdom of Lies, which is the first of the 2018 5th Doctor monthly range trilogy. It's a Nyssa Tegan Adric joint. So. Yeah,
is Tegan? Is Tegan going to be there?
Well, yeah, it's a full. It's the monthly range.
Well, they don't always have the full cast. Yes, you don't always get all of the companions.
Well, I mean, they do when they're in the story.
That's true. Not well.
Give me one example where a monthly range has not had.
I don't remember. They all get jumbled in my head. The cast
the series and
of the different better than I do. It all blurs. It's all just Big Finish to me. Okay,
whatever, it's Kingdom of Lies. That's 5th Doctor, and then for the 6th Doctor, we're still rocking along on TV with the 2 Doctors.
Yes, which is it's longer than normal too. It's an extra It's an extra hour.
Yes.
It is a 3-part. 3-hour-long episode story, so that's exciting, and
3-hour-long episode story,
and it's the return of Kate's favorite,
Paul McGann.
No, your other favorite,
David Tennant.
yes, David Tennant makes a triumphant return in the 2 Doctors.
Leela. Okay.
Yes, Leela has become a Time Lord.
Oh my god!
It turns out she was a future regeneration of the Doctor, and we never knew.
What if Leela was a future regeneration of Romana, and all that time on Gallifrey they were talking to themselves?
That sounds like a fun idea that I would never want to actually have. Like, I'd want to see that work, but I don't think it ever would.
That's what you call a fanfic right there.
Yes.
All right. So those 3 things. Entanglements, Kingdom of Lies, 2 Doctors. Eventually, next time, whenever that is.
All right. Bye, everyone.